live right here on the DRN, round number 5 of the Elite Seniors Racing League Dirt Late Model Tour. I am your host, Tim Dayton, alongside AJ Vassar here for tonight's broadcast. Ready to go for
Thank
30.
you, Tim.
It is very nice to have you here tonight, AJ.
Yes, the pleasure is all mine. Certainly a great time to get to work with you here in the booth. A very stout field here at Lernerville for some pro dirt late model action around this 4/10 of a mile speedway. Certainly tight quarters action. Going to be a lot of give and take here for these drivers through these short heat races and, of course, the feature event.
Yeah, should definitely be. I mean, of course, as you mentioned, the 10-lap heat races should be a wild one. Always wild when we come here to the Elite Seniors Racing Championship Dirt Late Model Tour. Had definitely a wild couple last races, and Lernerville is definitely a tough track with, no wall in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, or in the little part of 4. But we'll definitely see some cars going off the track possibly tonight. That should always be a fun variable, if you will, to tonight's proceeding.
Especially because your racing line, guys are finding speed up there just on the edge of that berm. So it's a very fine line that you have to tiptoe here of running the cushion. And if you go over that berm, you're going to find yourself losing a multitude of spots and a lot of time to get back onto the racing surface. But how about so far through practice? We're 18 minutes into the 30-minute practice session, and your points leader, Rocky Top Keith Kincaid, fastest with a 14.528.
Yeah, Keith always fast when it comes to these types of racetracks. Let's take a look at the guy currently second in practice, Scott Tice, with a 14.743 at the moment. Scott's been very, very consistent, but he's had some bad luck this season. Currently 10th in the point standings out of 16 cars. Not the greatest start to his year as we get to the halfway point tonight of the Dirt Late Model Tour season. But he's looked a lot better on Wednesday nights than he has on the Dirt Late Model Tour. Of course, 8th in points in the Asphalt Series. Should be an interesting one on Wednesday night at Hickory, but we'll see. Speaking of your points leader there on the raceway, going through 3 and 4, Kincaid always strong when it comes to the dirt side of thing. I mean, as well as the asphalt side of the points series. Of course, the overall points championship on the line, where they combine both the asphalt and the dirt series into one total point standings. And I believe they hand out like plaques or championships at the trophies at the end of the season. So that's always like a incentive to do better in points for sure. As honestly, another guy who we should really keep our eye on tonight is Greg Parmalee. Slackamo, if you will, in the number 04 machine. The Young Gun Creations number 04. He's been definitely strong this season. Kept his end of being consistent and just honestly being a threat to win week in and week out. Missed a week last week. I believe it was last week or the week before. But still tied for third in points with Gary Offit. I believe Offit is not here tonight. So that definitely frees up the third spot here for Parmalee when it comes to the point standings.
Yeah, speaking of your point standings, only 4 races in of the 10 race series, and still a very tight battle up front between Keith Kincaid and Andy Patton. 4 points separate your top two, then a tie for third place between Gary Offit and Greg Parmalee, as you mentioned before. Both those drivers sitting 11 points back of your points leader. So potentially a night where maybe if Kincaid makes a mistake, a few guys can enter the conversation on taking over this points lead and digging into that gap that Kincaid has already set pretty strongly through 4 races.
I mean, just taking a look at the point standings, it's a not very much a point difference, only by 4 points over Andy Patton. But I mean, Keith has won all 4 races so far in the season. A dominant performance thus far in the series. Of course, the season 4 ESRC overall champion won both the asphalt and the dirt last season. Looking to do so again here in season number 5. And actually, he won the 2025 championships as well. The last person to really unseat him when it comes to championships is Brett McCoy in season 2 of 2025. Had 5 wins on that season, only 9 starts in that season, season number 2. Because they split it in half, one season at the start of the year, one start at the end of the year. This is really the end of the year series here, AJ. So it's definitely, all points are going to matter when it comes to catching up to Kincaid.
For sure. Changing the topic a little bit here, we talk about the racetrack that we're here today. Of course, we're at Don Martin's Lernerville Speedway over in Sarver, Pennsylvania, just about 30 miles outside of the Pittsburgh city area. 4/10 of a mile speedway. It's a clay oval, which will certainly play into some of the factors with tonight's racing. Handling certainly going to be a factor. Precision going to be the key to ending up in victory lane for tonight's ESRL series.
Yeah, honestly, this is one of the more difficult tracks, I would say, on the schedule. I know a lot of people during the week were talking to me about having issues with learning the racetrack. And with, of course, not knowing what conditions would be on the racetrack here tonight. You could obviously test drive during the week, but not until you hop in the practice session with other cars and more rubber gets laid down on the racetrack will you find out what the conditions here tonight will look like. Let's taking a look at somebody we
Well, how
rare.
about the.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you go. It's fine.
I was gonna say, how about we take a look at somebody we rarely take a look at, the 19 of Russ Harold as he goes off track. But go ahead, AJ.
Well, I was just going to mention, too, beautiful, beautiful weather here at Lernerville for tonight's event. 78 degrees to be exact. A little bit of cloud cover, but nothing too bad. And not much wind, just a little bit of a north wind. So weather certainly won't play a factor in terms of track preparation or a wind factor. We will see how these drivers are able to navigate the 4 tricky corners here. Lernerville also most recently a stop in the time limit dirt series where they bring dirt sprint cars to this little racetrack. That was back on July 23rd with Rico Abreu taking down the $25,000 over Corey Day. Or correction, Corey Day took that over Rico Abreu. as he made them pass for the lead with 2 laps to go.
As we have just under 3 minutes, we're going to take a short break right here on the DRN. We will be right back. Stay with us.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn? Oh, say, can you see?
As we are back right here on the DRN for live coverage of the Elite Seniors Racing Championship Dirt Late Model Series right here at the Lernerville Speedway, Don Martin's Lernerville Speedway in Starver, Pennsylvania. I am, of course, your commentator, Tim Dayton, alongside AJ Vassar for tonight's coverage. As we have just under a minute left here, 30 seconds left on practice here as we will go into qualifying for tonight's event. While we wait for the qualifying to start here, AJ, we got some advertisements for two different sponsors that sponsor the series, if you would like to take it away.
Thank you, Tim. ESRC has just partnered with a new company on the market with Rock Offshore. Rock Offshore is a veteran owned brand built for those who live life on the water, inspired by the discipline and resilience of offshore anglers. We create high performance apparel and gear designed for durability, comfort, and functionality in the toughest conditions while actively supporting marine conservation to help protect the oceans that fuel our lifestyle. Rock Offshore's apparel of lightweight performance shirts, hats, and sun protective gear also fits perfectly into the racing world, giving drivers and crews breathable comfort for long, hot days at the racetrack. Checkered Flag RC Raceway will bring you action all summer for season 23. Not only will we have our normal racing schedule from May through October, we will also have our Kansas Dirt Oval Championships. Racing for a Reason benefit race and our Halloween habit. Our track is totally geared around a family atmosphere. We strive for a no stress, fun filled day of racing. Located 1 mile from Kansas Speedway, we would love to have you join us. Check us out on Facebook and YouTube.
We're going to look at some qualifying here. Currently on the racetrack, we have Greg Parmalee in the K2 Motorsports Tipsy Tim's Patent Triple A Rob's Kep as he sends it over the fence. Somebody we really haven't talked about tonight, I believe just finished his 2 laps out of Poplar Grove, Illinois in the Finnegan's RV Nielsen Racing left-hander chassis number 1. Brett McCoy, currently position number 8, which is definitely out of the ordinary for Brett there in qualifying. Of course, we have the 10-lap apiece 2 heat races here, so it should be something different for these racers here tonight. Keith Kincaid, top of the board at the moment with a 14.363. We take a look at him there. Finishing both of his laps. Scott Tice currently position number 2, 14.497. Andy Patton currently in position number 3, 14.580. Greg Parmalee, position number 4 in qualifying at the moment. Nice to see that 04 towards the front of the field. The usual suspects, if you will, for the top running order of qualifying.
Really nice, all put together lap there by Kincaid on lap 1 of the hot lap. It's really able to roll the bottom very well and keep the momentum up. It's really tricky here, 3 and 4. There's a bit of a hump through the middle of the corner that if you hit it wrong and you get too deep into the inside part of the corner, it lifts the nose up and it's not really able to come get that drive off that you really need. Kincaid hit it on the second lap, and you really see how much it hindered as he was 3 tenths slower on that lap.
Yeah, while we have the moment, going to quickly go over some of the upcoming events here on the DRN. August 5th, this coming Wednesday night, we are live from the Hickory Motor Speedway for the Elite Asphalt Touring Series. 100 laps on tap for that event. Then the next Monday, August 10th, we are back here for the Dirt Late Model Tour at the Bristol Motor Speedway. The following Wednesday night, August 12th, at the Martinsville Speedway for the Elite Asphalt Touring Series. Phenomenal racetrack there, historic venue, if you will, especially for those late model stocks. Lucas Oil that coming Wednesday after that race for the Dirt Late Model Tour once again. Then we go to the North Wilkesboro Speedway, another historic venue that was added to the schedule, August 19th. And rounding out the upcoming events, the next 6 upcoming events, August 24th, the Elite Dirt Late Model Tour for the I-55 Speedway. Catch it all right here on the DRN. As we line up for heat races, AJ, feel free to go over our starting lineup.
Your pole sitter will be the K2 Motorsports Flaming Hot Cheetos number 17 out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, Keith Kincaid. The driver to the outside of him in the second spot, in the number 87, out of Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, in the Patton's Triple X Tire Shine A&J Customs Creations machine. It's the General, Andy Patton. Your third place starter, out of Chilhowie, Virginia, in the Dungeon of Speed, number 31, is Chris Farmer. Your fourth place starter, will be the driver out of New Orleans, Louisiana, Ben Gunther. Your fifth place starter is the number 1 Finnegan's RV Nielsen Racing Machine, driven by Brett McCoy. Starting sixth will be the driver out of Bonner Springs, Kansas, in the Checkered Flag Raceway, Tipsy Tim's number 45, Tim McDowell. And your seventh place starter will be the 777 of Chris Hall. Or correction, the 007 of Chris Hall.
As this should be a good one here, AJ. Lining it up, 10 laps on tap. Green flag here for heat race number 1. Kincaid out to an early lead here, AJ.
Indeed, that battle for second, though, ramping up. Chris Farmer on the inside, trying to make the bottom line work as he looks to have cleared the 87 of Andy Patton. Contact, though. Patton gets into the back of the 31. They're 3 wide for third. McCoy had to back out of there as he was 3 wide top. Chris Farmer to second, Ben Gunther to third. Andy Patton starting to fall back a little bit here. Started from the second spot. He'll now clear on the bottom of the 55 of Gunther. He'll move back up to third. Can he run back down Chris Farmer?
Yeah, Chris Farmer out in front by a little bit there. But Andy looks to be, finally getting the hang of the racetrack here. Chris Farmer just out in front of him, but Keith Kincaid has set sail in that number 17 Flamin' Hot Cheetos machine.
Ooh, bad corner there by Patton. He'll lose a lot of ground to the driver in front. As here comes Brett McCoy for that 4th spot. He'll get to the inside of Gunther. Gunther will get wide up on that berm, and it'll slow him down, giving up that position.
Yeah, Brett honestly is one of those guys that we normally see as an asphalt racer, an asphalt late model stock driver, rather than a dirt driver. He recently got into this last season. And I mean, so far so good when it comes to the ESRC Dirt Late Model Tour. Had a 3rd place finish on night number 1 of the series at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway for our beginning of the season coverage. You could look back at that right here on the DRN as well. I know Billy McCoy probably watching here tonight, cheering on Brett and the rest of the McCoy family. White flag in the air here for Kincaid.
Kincaid with about a straightaway lead to the 2nd place driver of Chris Farmer will make his way down the back straightaway into 3 and 4 for the final time. And taking the checkered flag in heat race number 1 will be the 17 of Keith Kincaid. Chris Farmer will come up 2nd. Andy Patton in 3rd. Brett McCoy in 4th. Brent Gunther in 5th. 6th, Chris Hall. And Tim McDowell will round out the field in the 7th spot.
Sorry about that, folks. Little technical difficulty. Hasn't hurt nobody. But the starting lineup for heat race number 2 on tap here for 10 laps. Rob Cassidy in the Artie Ranch number 68 takes the pole here for heat race number 1. I'm sorry, that's 2nd place. Greg Parmalee, Slackamo out of Kansas City, Kansas in the K2 Motorsports Tipsy Tim's Patton AAA. Rob's Cows Young Gun Creations number 04 in position number 2. Rob, of course, on the pole. Tap back a little bit. Russ Harold in the number 19 AARP machine. A newcomer to the series here tonight. Sean McLean, brother of Quinn McLean, who is in the row right behind him, actually. Then, of course, Quinn McLean in the number 21 machine out of Chanhassen, Minnesota in the 21 race graphics, J-Max, Speed Shop, Smoke Train, Racing number 21, Quinn McLean. Of course, rounding out the field is Scott Tice. Tice, unfortunately, out of heat race number 2. They come to the green flag. Rob Cassidy does not go. 10 laps on tap here for heat race number 2, AJ.
Yeah, we see Greg Parmalee, it looks like, out front as maybe a problem for Scott Tice. He did not take the green flag.
Yeah, very unusual here for Tice, and honestly unfortunate because he seemed pretty good in practice, and of course now we see in second and third Sean McLean and Quinn McLean respectively, the two brothers.
Ooh, big
Sean,
contact in the back of the field. Rob Cassidy has just gone airborne over a tractor tire.
yeah, that was a rough hit there. Stuck on the tractor tire here on the front straightaway. Greg Parmalee still in the lead for the moment. Six laps to go here for heat race number 2. Right before we decide the feature, Rob Cassidy heads to the pit lane. Not going to be a factor. Currently sits 5th. With 5 laps to go in heat race number 2. As it looks like Parmalee really has set sail here, AJ. Definitely the two cars we have to look out for tonight are Keith and Greg, for sure.
Yes, Greg Parmalee could be a factor in tonight's feature event. We'll have to see if Scott Tice can get the internet problems he was having earlier figured out. They'll have to come from deep in the field, but he still could be a factor if he can get those problems fixed and get back out here for that feature event.
Yeah, Sean McLean currently running second. Quinn McLean in third at the moment as we come to the checkered flag. Greg Parmalee wins heat race number 2. Sean McLean in the number 22 machine finishes position number 2. Position number 3, Quinn McLean. Russ Harold in position number 4. Rob Cassidy for 5. And Scott Tice, of course, out of the race with internet issues here tonight, in 6th, rounding out heat race number 2. As while we have a time for the warm-up, we will be right back here on the DRN. As we are back live right here on the DRN. Sorry for that, folks. Little different kind of technical issue when it comes to the graphics here tonight, as they are lined up and ready to go now. I'm going to take a quick look at some of the cars on the raceway at the moment. Taking a quick look at Chris Farmer in the number 31 machine. Currently second in warm-ups here. And if you like what you see, visit www.racemrl.com/ESRC for more information on how to register and be a part of the fun here on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday nights. Of course, they run the non-point series, the Legends of Draft, tomorrow night at the Dover Motor Speedway. Should be a fun one. I know I will be trying to participate in tomorrow's events. We will have to see. That'll be on the official Elite Seniors Racing Championship YouTube channel on Friday night. There's Rob Cassidy off the raceway. Back on the raceway. As
You want me
we
to start?
are about to begin our starting lineup here, AJ, take it away.
Well, your pole sitter and the winner of heat race number one, driving the the Elite Seniors Racing Championship, K2 Motorsports number 17, will be Rocky Top Keith Kincaid.
As in your second position in the K2 Motorsports Tipsy Tim's Patent AAA Rob's Cows Young Gun Creations, number 04 out of Kansas City, Kansas, Slackamo, Greg Parmalee.
Chris Farmer in the Dungeon of Speed number 31 will start from the third position.
And in the fourth position, it will be Sean McLean in that beautiful orange and purple number 22.
Starting fifth, the General out of Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania in the Patton's Triple X Tire Shine Checkered Flag RC track number 87, Andy Patton.
And in position number 6, in the 21 Race Graphics J-Max Speed Shop Smoke Train Racing, number 21 out of Chanhassen, Minnesota. The brother of the man who is in our other past row, the row number 2, Quinn McLean in the number 21 machine.
Starting seventh in the left-hander chassis, number 1, Brett McCoy.
And as we scroll through the rest of tonight's field, we will take you to the green flag here tonight, presented by RaceMRL.com.
Great start out of Kincaid. He'll pull away with your race lead as Greg Parmalee looks for second. Contact further back, though. Brett McCoy with some problems as he's going to drop a handful of spots to the back end of your racing field.
And it looks like problems for the number 22 machine heads to the pit lane right now. Unfortunate for the number 22. Let's take a quick look at the RD Ranch replay to see what happened. As Sean, I believe, was running in the third spot. Yeah, it looks like he just went right off the racetrack. Ooh, hits the fence. Nasty wreck there to bring out your first caution of the evening. Unfortunate for Sean. Was running pretty good there, AJ.
Yeah, he was sitting in a decent position and just got over that berm like we had talked about in practice. And it was just in a spot where, like, that wall comes up fast. You just have nowhere to go on dirt here when you jump that cushion in 3 and 4.
Yeah, always a tricky thing to navigate here at the Lernerville Speedway. Of course, Keith Kincaid leads the race so far as they double up this time by. Your first caution of tonight's event. Hopefully there are not any more. I might have just jinxed it, but it is what it is. Greg Parmalee, Keith Kincaid lead him down to the green flag once again. Out of 3 and 4, Kincaid comes to the green flag. And right back under caution. And a huge
Right.
crash, it looks like here. I don't know who that was, to be honest with you.
I don't believe it was a crash. I believe iRacing had called the caution for the 22 coming back on the racetrack.
Oh, I see. Definitely a interesting way to kick off tonight's proceedings here in the 35 lap feature event right here at the Lernerville Speedway. Only he came back on the racetrack 1 lap earlier. iRacing probably wouldn't have called it. But it is what it is. stuff happens. I figured it was maybe like a restart jump, like somebody jumped the restart or something like that, and they just called it back. But iRacing pace truck currently on the raceway shuts the lights off this time by, doubling up once again. The iRacing pace truck pulls down pit lane as we're going to go back green, try this one more time. Lap number 3 of 35 here in tonight's event. Greg Parmalee and Chris Farmer get into it, and it looks like Chris Farmer spins himself and a huge
And he's going to go
wreck.
up and over.
Quinn McLean's in it, Cassidy's in it. I believe that is Sean McLean as well. That will bring out your third caution. Technically second caution, if you will, of tonight's proceedings.
Yes. Though, surprisingly, Chris Farmer up and over. Not the way you want your night to unfold, as it looks like he had a little help getting himself spun around there that we will see on the replay.
Yeah, let's take a look back at that replay here. Of course, Rob Cassidy, Chris Farmer, Scott Tice, unfortunate, had that issue in the heat race. Not able to make that call in the race. Going to take a quick look back at the RD Ranch replay of that wreck. As honestly, it looks like they were just in such a tight blanket of cars. And Farmer spun and everybody just kind of piled in towards the end. Scott Tice had nowhere to go. Gave Chris Farmer some help with flipping that car on its lid. Big thank you to RD Ranch for sponsoring the replays here for the Elite Seniors Racing Championship Dirt Late Model Tour. And Chris Farmer, we take a good look at him currently sitting in the pit lane. Heavy damage on the left side of that Pro Late Model, AJ.
A lot, yes, a lot of damage to that race car. And not only the damage is a factor, certainly the laws of track position will hurt. As we get ready back for another restart, iRacing pace truck makes its way off the racetrack. Field is in the hands of Keith McCade. He takes off, green flags back in the air. You'll file in with your race lead. Parmalee tries to get to the bottom of the racetrack on Patton. He'll look to hold on to second as they're side by side for third between Patton and McCoy.
Yeah, Brett seems to be using an unusual line here. Like the way he turns the car, he's turning it a lot more and swinging the back end out a lot more than a lot of these other competitors here tonight. Running the cushion here in 3 and 4 seems to be helping him out a little bit to catch Greg.
Talking about things that are helping, things that may not help your race leader, Keith Kincaid, is that if he looks out the front end of that Hot Cheetos number 17, he's got the 31 of Chris Farmer, who came back onto the racetrack after that wreck, right in front of him, about 2 to 3 to 4 car lengths in front of him right now at the moment.
Yeah, definitely not what Keith wants to see, but he is usually very good when it comes to lap traffic and trying to get around them. As Tim McDowell went off the racetrack, currently in position number 11. Back onto the racetrack now. But yeah, Chris Farmer currently in the hot seat to get lapped. 2 laps off the pace at the moment. Has a great battle for P8 here between Chris Hall and Sean McLean. A very uncontested, if you will, battle between those two.
We have a contested battle going on for the 10th spot. Rob Cassidy and Tim McDowell stay side by side, though McDowell makes a little bit of a mistake there. He'll lose some ground.
As it looks like Andy Patton and Brett McCoy still fighting for that 3rd position here on the raceway. or at least Andy Patton's trying to get up to him. The general looking to try and make something happen. Went through the grass a little bit, goes wide. That'll allow Ben Gunther in the number 55 machine to catch up just a little bit, with Scott Tice in position number 6 just behind.
Kincaid starting to see a lot more heavy traffic out in front of him. Second place Parmalee only 2 seconds behind. Can this be a factor here? As we still have 20 laps to go.
As McLean about to go 2 laps down here to the leader, Keith Kincaid. Slide job up the inside, and it looks like Kincaid has to check up a little bit there to make sure he didn't run in the back of Tim McDowell as they fight for position number 10 on the raceway. Heavy traffic for your leader.
Ooh, they'll get contacted from the McDowell comes back up the racetrack.
Oh, Farmer's
into
in
the
it
31 of Farmer.
as a wheel rolls into turn number 1 and 2. That looks to be Chris Farmer's. Maybe it was Tim McDowell's. Yes, it was. You can see him, the car limping on the raceway as it goes to the pit lane. Unfortunate for Tim. He was running pretty good. And that gains Quinn McLean 2 spots on the raceway, as he had just went 2 laps down. Both in the pit lane are Tim McDowell and Chris Farmer. Or Farmer actually pulls into the pit lane now, as what seemed to be a rough hit. Let's ride on board a little bit with your leader. In the onboard perspective here of Keith Kincaid. Coming up to the lap cars there of Tim McDowell. It looks like Rob maybe helped him a little bit there to send Tim McDowell in the number 45 checkered flag RC Raceway machine, as both are side by side next to each other on the pit lane. Still single file on the raceway are all of these competitors. Doubling up this time by here, AJ.
Doubling up here, 17 laps down, 18 to go. So just about near the halfway point as the iRacing pace truck will take the turn off the racetrack. And the field will be back in the hands of Keith Kincaid once again as he makes his way out at 3 and 4. He'll take off. Green flags in the air. Good restart by Kincaid. Here comes Brent McCoy, though, getting pulled along by Kincaid to second. 3 wide for the third spot. Contact further back. Parmalee dropping positions big time as he's now back to 7th.
Yeah, this is definitely a fight we've seen throughout the last few weeks when it comes to asphalt and dirt. Brett McCoy versus Kincaid. And usually Keith has his number on the racetrack, but definitely Brett has won a few of these battles here this season, of course, at the New Smyrna Speedway to kick off the Asphalt Touring Series part of the season. Defeated Keith Kincaid by almost 3 seconds, I believe, in that race. So he shows he can get it done here, AJ.
How about a name we haven't really talked about tonight? Russell Harold, battling just outside the top 5 positions right now. Certainly hanging in there and looking to try to pull off a pretty decent finish for himself.
Yeah, Parmalee, after that initial restart there with 17 to go, had a slight issue, currently sitting in the position number 5 on the racetrack. Scott Tice, great comeback here, looking to pass Andy Patton for the 3rd spot at the moment.
I think he nipped a bit of the grass there, and that lost him some momentum. He'll go over the berm, though, in 3 and 4. He'll lose even more time.
And gonna bring out a caution here. Not sure if that was for somebody else or if that was for Scott Tice. As unfortunate.
Well, he had the shovel. Scott Tice had the shovel out and was digging his way out of the hole he had dug himself into in heat race number 2. That's all for naught at this point, as he's going to go back to the 9th spot.
Yeah, just an unfortunate hole for him to dig out. Would, of course, we said, like the connection issues here in tonight's feature event. And going to continue to slide back down the board. Of course, currently on the lead lap, so that's the good thing here at the moment. Of course, not rocking his usual blue and white scheme, driving something different tonight, a beautiful orange and white machine. Told me it was one of his older paint schemes. Interesting to see something different here tonight, though it is not bringing him much luck here tonight, AJ.
Yeah, Scott Tice not having the greatest of nights. Still, though, there's more than 10 laps left. If he's smart about it, he can certainly salvage a good finish here. He's got the pace to do so.
He's definitely quick. Hit that bit of a slide job on Andy Patton there before he went off track, and was definitely digging, as you pointed out. But unfortunate circumstances for that machine. As
Here
gonna
we
come,
come to the restart. Kincaid goes. Green flags in the air. Here comes Andy Patton to the inside of McCoy. These two have been battling for what feels like all night long.
yeah, these two wherever they are, seem to find each other. As 10 laps to go this time by. Patton goes really wide. Brett McCoy slips to the inside and pulls away from that 87 machine. A costly mistake for the general himself there.
Patton will look to reset here as a little bit of a bobble there out of McCoy could open the door here for Andy Patton again. Ooh, McCoy gets up a little bit on the wall there. Both Patton and Parmalee will drop to the bottom looking for position. Patton will take over second here as they're almost 3 wide down out of turn 4.
Yeah, definitely a fantastic battle we're seeing here for that second position. And honestly, fantastic racing all around here, AJ.
Yes, we still see a battle going on around the top 5. Scott Tice has already moved back up to the top 5 already.
And even though he's got a little bit of nose damage there, not going to hurt nobody. Rob Cassidy brings out your next caution here on the raceway. On the inside of turn number 2. Heavy nose damage and heavy rear end damage there for that RD Ranch number 68 machine. Going to rejoin behind Keith Kincaid there. Not the finish he was looking for in position number 8 at the moment. Currently a lap down. Russ Harold, I believe, also involved in that wreck. Tim McDowell and Chris Farmer, I believe, at the moment are out of the race. As your 6th caution of the evening brings you Russ Harold and Rob Cassidy. Let's take a quick look at that to see what happened there between those two competitors. Presented to you by RD Rich. As it looks like Quinn McLean got into the 68 machine a little bit, and it looks like Rob just spun it out in turn 2. And that is where we picked him up, right at the end there, right here on the DRN. As Quinn McLean also it was either Quinn McLean or Russ Harold that was involved in that incident. Take a quick look to see if it was. Maybe there was a separate incident I didn't see. Yeah, Russ Harold got a little bit of, him and McLean, and then Ben Gunther on the back straightaway all got together here, AJ. Unfortunate for those cars. As Cassidy,
Very unfortunate, though, as we're coming back to the restart here. Single file this time. Kincaid will turn down the racetrack. He'll take the green flag.
4 laps.
He'll pull away very well.
Yeah, 4 laps to go in the feature event here, AJ. It could be anybody's game as Parmalee and Brett McCoy fight for that 3rd spot for the moment. coming to 2 laps.
Coming
to
around
go.
2 laps to go here. Keith Kincaid with a solid lead out front as he'll come out of 3 and 4 to see the white flag.
Coming to the checkered flag. 5 for 5 on the series this season. Keith Kincaid wins here at Lernerville. Andy Patton in the 87. Great comeback here, AJ. Brett McCoy, position number 3. Greg Parmalee, a great strong finish in position number 4. Scott Tice comes back from 9th to a 5th place finish. Sean McLean in the number 22 machine comes P6. P7 is the 007 of Chris Hall. Russ Harold for 8. Rob Cassidy for 9. Ben Gunther for 10. Quinn McLean for 11th. Tim McDowell out of the race in 12th. And 13th, Chris Farmer also out of the race. That is your results here for tonight's event. We will talk to the top 3 finishers right after this in Team Holloway Racing and Graphics Victory Lane. Stay with us. As we are here with your 3rd place finisher here in tonight's feature event, Brett, you looked strong. You had some issues toward the middle of the race tonight, but tell us about your race, my friend.
Oh yeah, this was a lot of fun. I didn't even own this track till last night. Never turned a lap here till then. So just happy I didn't launch it over the berm down into no man's land. I got the cushion there on the front stretch fence, which I think kept me from maybe being able to get second. But still, I mean, how can I complain? It was a great run for us.
Yeah, I mean, nice to see you back after a little bit of a week off for you. And any family, friends, sponsors you'd like to shout out for this 3rd place finish here tonight?
Yeah, obviously Keith and Rob for running the league, you for putting the broadcast on. Like to thank Nielsen Racing Enterprises, Left-Hander Chassis, Rapco Brakes. My wife for letting me race. My dad's always tuning in watching, so I'm starting to figure this dirt stuff out. It's a hell of a lot of fun.
All right, congratulations on your 3rd place finish here tonight, Brett.
Appreciate it. Take care.
Your 2nd place finisher, the 87 of Andy Patton. Andy, 1 spot short tonight, but a heck of a battle between you, Brett McCoy, and Greg Parmalee for almost the entirety of that feature event.
Yeah, and Scott Tice. Scott was up there even though he had internet problems. He was fast, man. I don't think I would have held him off. But yeah, good race. I'll take 2nd place. I mean, nobody was going to touch Keith as usual. So.
Well, you had to get creative there with your lines, trying to get around the guys that you were racing with. What was that like, trying to come up with all different ways to pass people?
I like to run the bottom here at this track, but the top is faster. So you have to go up there, and you have to take your chances with going over the top, you know. And the one time I tried to go to the bottom to get by Brett, and I I just pushed. I mean, I hit it way too low, and I pushed all the way across the track. I'm yelling in the speaker, "Hey, look out, look out." And he managed to get below me, which was perfect. But it was a really good race. I mean, Brett has really come around now. He knows how to run these cars as well as asphalt.
Lastly, take us through your race car and everybody who gets you here tonight.
Well, you guys for putting on the show, and Timmy, you do a terrific job, both of you guys. And I'm looking forward to watching this one tonight with the two of you in there. That ought to be neat. My company, A&J Custom Creations, do a lot of 3D artwork, stuff like that. I have CNC laser I could do. MRL for putting this whole thing together, or being partners in putting this whole thing together. ESRC, it's a tight-knit group of guys we got right now, and that's terrific. You don't see that many places.
Thank you, Andy. Second place finisher, the 87 of Andy Patton.
As we are here with your winner, once again, 5 for 5 on the season here, Keith Kincaid, right here in Team Holloway Racing and Graphics Victory Lane. Keith, take us through your race.
Yeah, we had a great night tonight. The car felt good. This is one of my favorite tracks, and I always love a track when it gets to be top dominant and where you can put it right there on the edge of the berm and let it eat. So, great night. Couldn't ask for a better run.
All right. I mean, you definitely were, as AJ said to Andy just now, it's definitely going from top to bottom and trying to figure out lines, and especially you during part of that race where you had to get through lap traffic. Tell us about how stressful that was.
Yeah, it got interesting there. We had 3 or 4 cars there clustered up together and trying to pick my way through it. And, the guys are such good drivers. They're so clean and considerate. And, it was just a matter of kind of, making my move and make sure I don't, over pressure them or, get into someone. So it worked out great.
All right. And lastly, tell us who gets you to the racetrack here tonight, Keith.
Yeah, I mean, I can't thank Team Holloway Racing and Graphics, Todd Holloway, enough. He sent out all of our Season 4 awards. All the guys received those today, and, man, we appreciate that so much. Kyle Adams with MRL for giving us this platform, K2 Motorsports, Checkered Flag RC Raceway in Kansas, RD Ranch, Wiley Raceway Slot Car Racing in Illinois, and Ruck Offshore for coming on board and helping us out this season. So we can't do it without all those great sponsors.
All right, well, I'll let you go and celebrate here in Team Holloway Racing Graphics Victory Lane. Congratulations, Keith.
Thank you, Tim. Have a great evening.
As we wrap up tonight's proceedings, we'd like to thank you both, or we'd like to thank you all for tuning in here tonight's broadcast. I am your host, Tim Dayton, alongside AJ Vassar. Good night, everybody.